Hello, my name is Ian Dutton and I'm the editor of the South African Medico-Legal Reports, and I will be taking you through the presentation today, which is an introduction to the South African Medico-Legal Reports professional support system. This system is at the heart of what the South African Medico-Legal Reports does. We've worked very hard to work out the system and to implement the system, and I'm absolutely delighted to launch the system and very proud to say that we are now officially embarking on our journey with the South African Medico-Legal Reports. Let's just have a look more closely at this system. I just want to say a few words about our choice of a compass. The system is specifically designed to guide you, whether you be an expert witness, a legal practitioner, or a healthcare practitioner, through the legal and regulatory requirements of practicing medico-legal work. And you will see that the system has been specifically set up in such a way that, like a reliable instrument, you will be able to find your way through the challenges of your practice by using the system much like a compass. Just like to say welcome to everybody who's attending the live event, and also a special welcome to anybody who's watching this in the on-demand video section later. We are truly delighted to be hosting this event. It is hopefully going to be the first of many intellectually engaging events and professionally fulfilling events that we hope to present during the course of this year and the coming years. Let's just first have a look at what is the South African Medico-Legal Reports professional support system. In a nutshell, it's an integrated system, and I'll have a word or two to say about that integration aspect in a moment. For medico-legal practitioners, and I've already touched on, there are three main groups. That's legal practitioners, expert witnesses, and then, of course, healthcare professionals or medical practitioners, if you like. Now, the system provides information, training, and awareness, and we will have a look at those and unpack those during the course of this presentation, using a variety of innovative resources. Now, I just want to say something about the innovative resources. We pride ourselves on using technology to assist us in an appropriate way to provide easily accessible solutions to the need for information and knowledge within the medico-legal sector. So we use innovative resources while drawing on traditional professional values and standards. Our professional values and standards are truly at the heart of why we do this. They are touchstone for everything we do, and we very strongly promote what I would call traditional professional values and standards within the expert witness sector, within the healthcare sector, and within the legal sector. And we invite you to think of it as your professional guidance tool, or might as well say compass, through the legal principles of medico-legal practice. The South African Medico-Legal Reports are going to be launched in a three-phase process. This presentation heralds the first phase. In other words, at the end of January, 26th of January, as this is recorded, we are going to be introducing the launch of the South African Medico-Legal Reports. So the whole system is launched today, and we are also launching as one component of that system the textbook, which are the South African Medico-Legal Reports. I'll explain that to you during the course of this presentation, but that is phase one. So we've got the official launch of the entire project, and we've also got the official launch of the South African Medico-Legal Reports, as in a set of law reports of contemporary medico-legal judgments. And then if we have a look at phase two, which will be the launch of the quantum guidelines, that's on the 23rd of February this year, 2025. And the quantum guidelines, really, you can think of that as our general damages section of the South African Medico-Legal Report. The quantum guidelines themselves, again, I will give you some information on the quantum guidelines today. They will be officially launched on the 23rd of February this year. Have a look out for that. Very, very exciting project, innovative project. You'll get a glimpse into it now, but we are hard at work on the quantum guidelines at the moment. Also, look out for the pre-launch specials, which will be coming up regarding the quantum guidelines. And then lastly, we've got the launch of the specialized training program. That's now the 30th of March. And we will get into the training program, which is presented by the South African Medico-Legal reports. We are already presenting training, which is current awareness training. That's training on a daily basis as to what's happening in the South African courts and in the South African Parliament. Any acts of Parliament or court cases we look at and we distill it, we present it for training. That's ongoing already. But we are going to be launching our specialized training program on the 30th of March. Just a special word to any organizations or representatives of organizations or members of organizations who are watching this. Please, if you're interested, get hold of us. We can set up a specialized training program for your organization. This is an open invitation. We've got capacity at the moment. This is a great opportunity to partner with us. Then let's just have a look at the why. Why was the South African Medico-Legal Reports Professional Support System developed? Let's begin with that. The South African Medico-Legal Reports Professional Support System was developed in response to the increasingly complex and demanding professional medico-legal environment, and in particular the need to assimilate an increasing volume of information and the associated professional skills in an efficient, effective, and manageable way. This is a symptom of our times. We are now overwhelmed with information. We have information available on our phones, on our devices, on our computers. Information is coming at us all the time, socially, but also professionally. And what many people don't know is that there is a huge volume of case law that is produced by the South African High Courts, some of it not relevant to medico-legal practice, but a very significant amount of it is directly relevant to medico-legal practice. Now, we take a broad definition to what's relevant. We say that there are three types of areas that we look at: substantive law, the procedural law, and the law of evidence. But there is a huge volume of information becoming available. And the problem is that we're also busy. And this is the actual problem. We are too busy to sit as individuals and assimilate that information. So what do? The South African Medico-Legal Reports have devised a system in terms of which, in a nutshell, we do the heavy lifting for you. We go into that case law, we distill the case law, we look for the key principles, we then transform, and I'll show you in a minute how we do it. We transform those whole long law reports, confusing if you're not a lawyer, you'll be very difficult to understand. If you are a lawyer, very difficult to make the time to read through all the unreported judgments. And we process all of that information. We also process very important judgments, and we then present that information to you in a systematic way. Let's have a look at an overview of the structure of the South African Medico-Legal Reports system. It's an integrated solution. In other words, the three components being information, training, and awareness platform, and we'll look at each of those in detail in a moment. But the point for the moment is that it's an integrated solution. So those three components are specifically designed to fit together and work together seamlessly and easily for the subscriber. We provide relevant, accessible information. So relevant, we go, and as I've just said, we distill the essence of a huge body of information, and we look for the information that's relevant, and then we make it accessible to the subscriber. Practically focused training, so that's the training component. We look at the practical side. We are not a university. We are not a platform that advocates for a specific position in the law. We tell you as it is, as the law actually is, and we also make it practically focused. And then there's also the awareness platform component. We will break that down in a moment, but for now, just be aware that so we have the information, the training, and then awareness. In other words, the exchange of information, both to the subscribers and also to the general public, and we'll explain how that works in a moment. As far as the awareness platform is concerned, there are two aspects. Firstly, into what we call internal awareness, in other words, subscriber awareness. What we mean by that is that when a case becomes available and information is put on the website, we need to make the subscriber aware that information is on the website, and there's a way that we do that. So in other words, you as subscriber will then be told that there's information available on the website. That's the one aspect of awareness platform. And the other aspect of the awareness platform is external awareness, i.e., the marketplace's awareness of the subscriber's skills and training. This is an absolutely key component of the Medico-Legal report system. We believe that if you are investing in yourself, you're getting the training, you're acquiring the skills, we need to let the marketplace know that in fairness, so that the marketplace can make an informed decision, and so that you as subscriber advance your practice, your skills, your knowledge base. And then just finally focus on the law as it is, not policy, i.e. what we call black letter law. In other words, we look at the law as it is pronounced by the judges. There might be differing positions. We will encourage discussion about that, but we do not advocate for a particular position. In other words, we might have a look at a particular case. It may be a controversial case. It may be in the news, and we will make mention of that, but we will then have a look at the technical aspects of that case. What that means is that hopefully that provides a more informed debate, but for our subscribers, it allows our subscribers to understand what is directly relevant to their practice. There are other forums available to advance policy positions and to get into public debate, very important. There's also academic forums where academics debate certain points, sometimes very important and interesting, but this is not our goal. Our goal is to provide practical, effective and useful information for the busy practitioner. Okay, let's then move on and have a look at the South African Medico-Legal Reports information component. This is now the information quadrant. I think that's the right sector, should I say. There are three. We have the case law system. Now, I'm going to show you in a moment how the case law system integrates and how we develop the case law system. But it's important to understand for now that the case law system consists of two types of cases. Unreported judgments, which are relevant to medico-legal practice, but which don't find their way into the South African Medico-Legal Reports judgments themselves. So those judgments may be relevant to a procedural issue or some issue which is not important enough or that we think is widely relevant enough to find its way into the South African Medico-Legal Reports proper. So that's the case law system. Then we have practice notes. The practice notes are your go-to, which then collates all the principles that are dealt with by the courts within one venue on the website. And the practice notes are divided into various topics, and those topics will then cover topics that come up and collate all the information from the law reports into one easy-to-use component of the website. The practice notes are available on the website. We do not, at the moment, publish a text version of the practice notes, although it is something that we will consider doing later in the year. Once we've got about a year's worth of practice notes, we may well also publish a text version. Then we've got the quantum guidelines. As I said a few minutes ago, you may remember that the quantum guidelines are our general damages section of the South African Medico-Legal Reports, and they will be launched at the end of February. For now, just be aware that that forms part of our information sector of the South African Medico-Legal Reports. Then let's have a look at the case law system in a little more detail. I've mentioned the unreported judgments. In other words, we will find judgments and we will place those judgments on the website, whether they find their way into the formal South African Medico-Legal Reports or not. That can be tremendously useful. We have the South African Medico-Legal Reports. Those judgments that are generally of sufficient interest to medico-legal practitioners will find their way into the South African Medico-Legal Reports. Now, I just want to say a word about the South African Medico-Legal Reports. It's because it's more specialized than the generic law report. We can include a lot of information, a lot of cases that will never find their way into the average law report or the generic law report. The reason for that is the generic law report needs to cover a host of legal subjects. And so they typically will only select really groundbreaking judgments. The South African Medico-Legal Report takes a different approach. Our test is whether the judgments are relevant to the practice of medico-legal work in South Africa. And sometimes it may even be that it's not a groundbreaking judgment, that it demonstrates a particularly important principle in practice, demonstrates the practical application, and also, importantly, looks at a history and a context of that particular principle. And so very often, by being aware of your latest cases, you also, over time, develop a very rich background context and understanding of the law around those specific principles. Moving on to the practice notes. As I said a few minutes ago, the practice notes is where we then collect all the various principles that are developed within the cases under various headings, and you can explore that on the website. But those headings then collect cases over, we've already got about a 6 months history. We will then continue collecting those cases under those practice notes. So very handy. You can go to a specific topic, have a look at that. For instance, expert witnesses, law report, writing an expert report, and you'll find all the key principles distilled within the practice note. Then we have the updates. What the updates do is it's a section on the website where you can go and check what updates have come through. We do a weekly update. We also disseminate that update information by way of an email, a weekly email update, and that will let you know anything that's been added to the site during the course of that week, whether it be training, judgments that have been added to the unreported judgments, obviously when the Medico-Legal reports come out, those, and then any other information that's placed on the website as well, such as practice notes, for instance. And then we've got finally the training component, and that locks all of these different areas together within the case law system. Let's have a look at the progress of a case from when it's handed down to when it's completed within the South African Medico-Legal report system. So we get a judgment handed down by a court. We then have the judgment formatted and published on our website. In other words, we then correctly format it. We look for errors, for instance, paragraph errors. There's often formatting errors in the judgments. We fix all of that and put it on the website as under judgments, in other words, unreported judgments. The next step is that we then update our practice note so that then that collection of principles is then updated to reflect the principles within that particular judgment. Then the next step is that we have a look at the judgment, and practice note is then notified in updates. As I say, we do a weekly update. We disseminate that information via email. We also disseminate it via WhatsApp and, of course, on our website. The next step then is that updated information is then included in our training. Not every principle will be included, but we try our best to include as many principles as possible in our current awareness training. And then the question is whether it should be included in the South African Medico-Legal report. Some judgments will find their way into the formal South African Medico-Legal reports, and a good deal of them won't find their way into formal law reports, but they're available on the website for use if they are relevant. And then let's just have a look. You're free to go and explore the website at your leisure, but I just wanted to take you through. You'll see in the main band, we've got table of contents, then practice notes, judgments, South African Medico-Legal reports, training, and updates. And you'll see that those correlate to the main puzzle pieces of the South African Medico-Legal reports that I've just taken you through. The South African Medico-Legal reports launch edition is now available. Beautiful for those that go with the print subscription. Beautiful quarterly produced. This is the very first edition, launch edition, and you can see it's been absolutely stunningly put together. We're very, very pleased with the result, and that will be a tremendously useful product. It's sewn, stitched, it's hand cut. It's got a leather appearance. It's not genuine leather, but we've gone with a very good leather, strong binding to keep the costs down. But really beautiful product. Even the pages are absolutely beautifully produced. So lovely product, and very, very good to hold in your hand, easy to read, and to make a record of relevant cases. Then let's have a look at our information sector. So the South African Medico-Legal Reports Guidelines. So we've just had a look at the case law. This sector is the general damages sector, and I just want to say a few words on the quantum guidelines, which will be, as I say, launched at the end of January. So phase 2, as I said to you, will be launching on at the end of February. I speak under correction. End of February. Phase 2 launching the 23rd of February 2025. The South African Medico-Legal reports quantum guidelines. Now, there are guidelines available. There are basically comparative tables of cases available. But the quantum guidelines is a very exciting project because it takes that basic concept a few steps further. Firstly, it sets out assessment factors for particularly expert witnesses to consider when they assess an injury for the value, the general damages value. That is really a clinical guidance, which we've obtained permission from the Irish Judicial Council to use. We like the Irish Judicial Council's approach because it makes sense from a clinical perspective. However, there are some adaptations which we had to make to the South African environment, and we will be working with expert witnesses and clinicians to check those guidelines, make sure that they are up to scratch, and we will refine. And we believe we've improved on the Irish guidelines. We also take into account the British guidelines. There are one or two other systems that we will look at as well, but we like the structure of the Irish guidelines, and we will develop from there. Then we've got a section on key legal principles relating to general damages. It's incredibly handy for legal practitioners. It distills those principles. Very, very useful when you're preparing heads of arguments, researching opinions, or memoranda. Everything there, the cases that deal with damages, we look for those principles. You don't have to read the whole case. The principles are there. And then depending on whether appropriate and time permitting and what have you, you can then go and have a look at those judgments in full. But we do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, whether you're an advocate or an attorney preparing on general damages. Then there's the table of comparative cases. One of the points of the table of comparative cases, we place great emphasis on recent case law. And we also, in the table of comparative cases, include not only the injury diagnosis, in other words, what is the specific injury, we also look at the outcome diagnosis. Now, the outcome diagnosis really gives a context to the injury in respect of that particular patient's subjective experience of the injury and the consequences of the injury for his or her life. The quantum guidelines, just to then sum that up, there are assessment factors, table of comparative cases, and key legal principles. Those are the three main sections of the South African Medico-Legal Reports Quantum Guidelines. We're very excited about the Quantum Guidelines. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to the canon of works. Our guest speaker, Professor Henny Klopper, is well known for his work in this field, and we see this as a complementary work that supplements the work that he's done. I believe it stands side by side, and such an important field of law, general damages, because every claim involves general damages, whether it settles or not. Very, very important. And then let's have a look at the South African Medico-Legal Reports training component. As far as the training is concerned, that launch, as I've said, is on the 30th of March 2025 for the specialized training. We already have our current awareness training. And here's our current awareness training. What we're doing at the moment is we're doing current awareness training for expert witnesses. Comes out on a Wednesday evening at the moment. We go quite in depth. It's about a half an hour video or so, plus additional reading, designed to be for the expert witness to go through that in their own time during the course of the week. And then the assessments will come out on the Friday. And we also do legal representatives training. The legal representatives training comes out on a Sunday evening. And again, very similar. There's a fair amount of content for the legal representatives, but we distill it down to its essence. There are videos that accompany both types of training. There's additional materials, and you can have a look at that on the website. Very, very useful. Then the advanced training, which is the specialized courses. This is what's going to be launched at the end of March. We've got high caliber trainers. We're talking to some incredible people for our training. The negotiations are going well. We're at an advanced stage, and between now and the launch, we will start notifying you of who those trainers are and of the subject matter of the specialized courses. In the meanwhile, we do ask the organizations to please get hold of us. As I said earlier, participate in this training, organization driven. And then certification, few words on that. Monthly accreditation for current awareness training. That's for experts and legal representatives. That's designed to be shareable on social media. As I say, one of our core principles is to share this information, show off the skills you've got, improve your practice. CPD points, a lot of questions about CPD points. Those will be available for experts and for healthcare later when we do that. Accreditation is downloadable and shareable through social media. Needs driven, in other words, we work through organizations and we look for the needs of those particular sectors. We don't come up with solutions. We try to work with those sectors to come to what is really necessary. And then if we look at the medico-legal training, there's training for legal representatives and expert witnesses at the moment. The healthcare practitioners, we will roll that out later in the year. Then let's have a look at the next sector, which is the awareness platform. Internal awareness, this is, remember, where we tell the subscribers about information being added. Multimedia dissemination, we use WhatsApp, there's a YouTube channel and our website. And there's also an email, which I forgot to put into that slide. The email is very important, weekly update. Then let's have a look at the next section of external awareness. Awareness of subscribers' knowledge, skill, and experience. This is where we then tell the marketplace about your skills. We have the website, shareable content through social media, and various promotions that we do regarding particular individuals who've done well. You'll see something coming up very shortly regarding training and who's excelled at training. And then as far as legal representatives are concerned, benefits to advocates, easily accessible, accurate and efficient awareness of content not otherwise accessible, greatly assists in drafting of heads of argument, pleadings and opinions, memoranda, promotion of knowledge, skills and experience. Then continuing with our legal sector, benefits to attorneys, easily accessible, accurate and efficient awareness of content not otherwise accessible, same benefit. But I just wanted to deal with this one. Staff kept up to date with current awareness. In other words, we will do the training for your staff. It's available on demand. If you subscribe, your staff can then complete that training, do the certification, and they will be up to date with developments in the field. And both current and in-depth knowledge built up, as I mentioned earlier. As you become familiar with your current knowledge, your in-depth knowledge builds up as well. And then the promotion of knowledge, skills, and experience of individuals and firms. So in other words, we then let people know both the firm and the individuals within the firm have this particular knowledge, skill, and experience. Looking at the expert witnesses, benefits to experts. Again, easily accessible, accurate, and efficient awareness of relevant content. So we translate it for you. We take the jargon off, let the experts understand what's happening. Explanation of case law in understandable terms. Promotion of knowledge, skills, and experience. Again, we will let people know about your expertise in a particular field. And then lastly, the healthcare sector. Regulatory and ethical compliance within the healthcare sector. We've started work on this, but as I say, this looks like second half of the year we'll get to this. And then independently developed through MedSecure Pty Limited products and healthcare sector role players. MedSecure Pty Limited is an associated company, and we will let you know what developments there are in that field. Now, just as far as how you can benefit, one, subscribe to the system. You'll see the subscriptions and the prices. We do have special prices on at the moment for the launch. Sign up for WhatsApp and email updates. Whether you're a subscriber or not, you can sign up for that. If you are a subscriber, please make sure that you do sign up to get the maximum from your product. Alert your professional organization to our request for collaboration. Please, we do reach out to you to get those organizations involved. That's how we'll really breathe life into this initiative. And use our training and accreditation to promote your knowledge, skills, and experience through your personal profile and social media content. Show off the training and the skills that you've developed. Just to close, a reminder of the Quantum Guidelines launch on the 23rd of February 2025. It's at 7 o'clock. We will put reminders out throughout the month. We will also remind about the March event, the launch of the specialized training. And just remains finally to say thanks to everybody. Thank you so much to our subscribers. We so deeply appreciate your support. We work incredibly hard behind the scenes to bring you this content. It's demanding work. But we are proud of where we've got to. There are areas we need to still improve in. There always will be. But we're very, very proud of what we've managed to achieve so far. We're at a very, very exciting jumping off stage, and we're going to be working very hard over the next few months and into the future to bring a true quality product to your practice and to help you to perform better as a medico-legal professional, whatever branch of the profession you belong to. And just a final word, I just want to really thank those who've collaborated with me on this project. Particularly Red Dot and Justin Kramer has been phenomenal. It's just unbelievable the way that he's developed a high quality website with high demands. Just really great work from Justin. Sarah Scott, who does our graphic designing, thank you so much to Sarah for all her fantastic work over the last few years. And then we've also got our publishers, and last but probably most importantly, Linda Marks deserves a huge, huge, huge thank you. Tremendous respect for her work ethic. It's an absolute pleasure to work with. She takes care of the contact side of the business, and she's just done phenomenally well. So thank you to all, and we will see you at the end of February for the Quantum Guidelines. Thank you.